Hey guys, Palsteron here, and today let's talk about the update for my Kinetic Fusillade Hierophant Ballista. Now, day 2 went just as well as day 1 with all bosses completed. It was pretty damn easy. We crafted a new wand. We did a cluster jewel setup. We got Yoke of Suffering and everything around it. And also the Aegis Aurora respec, which means that the build now has really comfortable defenses in maps, and I haven't really been dying at all after I got it. So yeah, as long as you fix your chaos res. But we're going to talk about all of that in this video, and a little bit more also about how I made my first bit of currency. Now first, some quickie gameplay. I am currently doing jungle valleys with Beyond, Searing Exarch, all the good stuff. I throw in a little bit of extra blueprints because they've been making really good money for me, so I can just show you the character. So at this point, I have the Aegis Aurora, so I can basically stand in most explosions or really anything. And yeah, we're just kind of cruising. So I'm just going to show you this one. I'm not really doing Delhi, but I guess we can throw it until like 3 or 5. So yeah, as you can see, the character, I had to respec from haste into D-term. My armor is now pretty damn crazy. I'm still capped on block, but while I have everything up, I have around 50,000 armor, which also means I can now actually use Molten Shell, and while Molten Shell is up, you're basically invuln. Now do note that the Aegis defense is very reliant on you getting hit, and with a lot of small hits. So against small hits, you're basically immune. That obviously means that if you're going into an Uber boss, it won't do as much as if you're map clearing. And yeah, this build is not really conceptualized for Uber bosses. So here I have the breach bosses right here. Just gonna stash them together. And as you can see, the damage has also been quite improved. I don't remember what my damage was, but somewhere around 15 million. I'll have to import that into POB in a second. But yeah, this is kind of how it looks like. And that's about all it is. And let's go into how I made these upgrades happen and in what order. All right, so these are all the upgrades I made today. First up, a better weapon. What you want is a essence crafted wand with triple flat damage with fire, cold, and lightning damage. And the way you make that is you first have to fracture a essence lightning damage. And I'm going to quickly show you how I did that on stream. Yeah, we're starting from fracture prefix, 100%. Tier 1. Decently divined. Fracture with League Mechanic, no. Well, then we add intangibility. Oh my god! 25 to 35 intangibility. What is going on? Dude, this is for items that... This is like the only crafting step you need. Watch this. 307, that's the one. It was just waiting. Is that... Wait, I just hit tier 1 cold. Do I take the 50-50 now? Should I boat... fracture that? Is that worth boat fracturing? All right, let's do it. Thank fucking god I did it. Imagine I hit the other one. All right, we're ready to craft. Tier 1 attack speed. Needs a double and all. I mean, I'll try. I'm lucky. What? Guys? Hello? Wait, what? Who needs to slam? Here's the deal. It has multi. Is this an Allflame slam? Hope I get either crit chance or attack speed, then craft the other one. And if I fail, I just clean and multi-mod, right? So crit multi is taken. So 6k left. So 70k waiting. And then I want to hit one of these. So this is like it would be when if I crafted it. So let's say these 3 are good outcomes. So 1,000. And then let's say this is like crafted. So these 3 are good outcomes. 2,500 out of 70,000. Veiled Exalt. But then it's a 50-50 though. Oh yeah, it's a 2 and 3. Is it worth paying 6? Actually, it's worth paying that many divines on this, right? Because it could come out as a really, really good item. I'm not going to upgrade this one. If I hit it, I'm never upgrading this one again. So that's nice. So I guess for now, I'm just going to craft on crit and do Maven with this. What a day. 38-1. $51.4. Feels good. That's without the attack speed. Holy. Then let's talk about the Aegis respec and the cluster setup. So Two things I want to say. First, if you haven't already gotten all your void stones and all your completions and killed all the bosses, then going Aegis is actually going to scuff you because you lose slight amounts of damage. And Aegis as a defense is just unnecessary for bosses. It's more for mapping. So I would highly recommend against that, do that first, just in case you dropped some money before, right? Okay, cool. Focus on offenses. It's going to make the bosses a lot easier, and then just use your range and everything. Okay. Aegis respec and cluster setup. The other thing is some people do not actually feel that squishy. And if you don't feel that squishy, scuffing your setup for armor is not going to do much. You should just go for damage. Maybe the kind of content you run is a little bit easier. But if you want to follow along, here it is. First, you need a armor light of meaning, like this one right here. Very expensive, but extremely, extremely strong. In case you don't know how strong, this is like half of all my armor. So yeah, it is completely ridiculous. And once again, Aegis gives you energy shield based on your armor. So if your armor sucks, you get like no recovery. Then cluster jewels first to compensate for the attack speed loss. So you will have to cut your haste. You can see right here, I don't have haste here anymore. I have determination, which is a ton of armor. But that means you're going to feel sluggish, which you don't want to. So you're going to compensate that with Sleepless Sentries, which gives you Onslaught, which is 20% attack and cast speed, or with Wilma's 40% attack speed. Do note though that I still have Val Haste in my setup to make me faster, but I'm not using haste. I only have it in there for Val Haste, just so we're clear. So that's important. And these cluster jewels, otherwise, the large one, all you care about is that it's an 8-point, right? That you don't have to take anything in the back, and that you have percentage damage or attack speed or crit or anything that gives you something up front. You want it to be either a 1 cluster or a elemental cluster. They are very, there's like 15 different nodes you can take here, which are almost the same, and you should not break the bank for this cluster. But just make sure you have that. And the last cluster is only for very end game. It has nothing to do with the Aegis setup, but I'll just show it to you anyways. Repeater and then Eye to Eye. This is when you go from level 92 to 96. So then you do cut the haste for the determination. You can also cut Steel Skin for Molten Shell, which Molten Shell is basically just Steel Skin, but 3 times as good. And you can only use it if you have armor. So that is another upside of the Aegis setup. And then, yeah, you have to make sure that your bases are good. I already said this last time. Your body armor is almost all of your armor and all of your energy shield. Wilma's already has energy shield. Make sure everything's quality. Like, for example, I forgot this one here. Currently crafting this one. Don't mind me. So yeah, just get your stuff in order. You should be at least 2,000 energy shield. I will be at like 2.8k, 2.7k, and let's make it 4k life, and at least 30k armor, but potentially more. While your granite is up, it should be at least 40k. And then you also need to spec into Glancing Blows. I want to make this clear. If you don't plan on going Aegis, you should never ever click this node. It is completely, utterly worthless. It actually scuffs your character. It makes your character actively worse. So this is only something you click once you have Aegis on the build. It is extremely synergistic because you will recover on hit anyways, so the 65% of damage from blocked hits doesn't matter. What it does do though is it actually caps you on normal block, which otherwise is extremely, extremely hard to do. You can see right here, capped on attack block, and it lets you remove this cluster and this cluster, freeing up the points needed for this cluster jewel, which also gives you back some of the damage for the Aegis setup to begin with. Then I have the Uber Lab. For this one, you have to kill Owl, which is a boss in Delve. You can, however, buy carries, which is what I did for 3 divines, and then somebody will lead you to Owl. Killing Owl, you potentially could do yourself, but just know that it's extremely hard to find on your own. So if you're an SSF, buckle in for like a day or so. You're gonna have to delve quite deep and know kind of what you're doing. But yeah, once you get that, you will get this. And then at the end, let's talk about Yoke of Suffering. This one will give you around 30% more damage over a rare Ami. And yeah, it's just incredible. So Yoke of Suffering says enemies take increased damage for each type of ailment you have inflicted on them. That is not just elemental ailments. So if you have any sort of fire, cold, and lightning damage, and you can see on enemies they're chilled, they're shocked, they're ignited, doesn't matter how much, then you know it's good. But you can also bleed them and poison them, because that also counts. So you can get up to 50% increased damage taken on enemies. The way you do this is through tattoos. So if you don't know, chance to bleed here on strength nodes and chance to poison here on int nodes. You can buy them right here. So this is how the bleed ones look like. It's the Kitawa Shaman, and the poison ones are the Tawa Shaman. Now these can be quite expensive. Do note that you can get either poison or bleed also on your glove implicit. So you can see up here I have Intimidate, but the other one, the accuracy, is actually useless. So you could also have just bleed or poison there. It just frees you up a little bit of currency while you're saving up for these. Otherwise, just a quickie here, my flasks have not changed whatsoever. My gloves will change. I bought this fractured dexterity because dexterity is an annoyance in this build. So there it is. I will craft this one. We'll talk about that next time. Still the same belt, same boots. I think same rings. I want to say same body armor. Yoke of Suffering here. Still the same Wilmas. The Aegis setup now, as we talked about. I have the new wand. And afterwards, yeah, the passive tree looks like this. And as you can see right here, instead of pathing through here, I'm now pathing through the side so I can get easy access to a 2-pointer glancing blows down here. And this is not really necessary if you're not Aegis. So yeah, that's about that. In terms of farming strategy, I put 2 down here. One is extremely easy, which is a early blueprint rush. Now, what you do on this one is you just go into a map, you collect the blueprints and you check them. If you don't have Awakened trade yet, you definitely have to check them because blueprints can come with certain implicits and they are not all made equal. So for example, I don't know, like these right here. So for example, heist targets are always enchanted armaments. This is the worst one, but it could have some that are worth up to a divine. So you can price check it here with Awakened period trade. This one is worth nada, right? Cool. But could have been worth something. And these are all like 3C, so you can just pick them up. And also you have to check for 3 out of 3. So you can see this right here. 3 out of 3. These are fully revealed blueprints and they are worth quite a bit more. And then you have to check for 4 out of 4. You go through here. If you have any, that's also like 40C or so. That's all you have to know. So just collect the blueprints. And the second strat is what I'm currently running, which is the Beyond Boss Rush. And this one revolves around the Beyond Scarab of Resurgence. This one makes it so that if your boss spawns, you spawn up to 3 bosses instead. There's 3 different Beyond bosses. They can drop new stuff this patch. For example, the Pact or the Belt Pact. So Tainted Orb of Fusings are still like 30C or so. Really, really strong Scarab. So you just want to make it so your map is filled with, to the brim with monsters so you can actually spawn the Beyond. So I go Beyond of Resurgence. Escalation for a lot of extra maps. You can see right here the Nightmare maps, they sell for like 40 chaos as well. And then just spam Dominations or other stuff. You can also do Legions or whatever you want just to fill it with extra monsters. And yeah, then you just take all the Beyond. Once again, this is all down in the dock below. And yeah, that's basically all I did for now. I will be putting another update on day 3, which might be my last one because this league was actually a lot faster, but I will be making quite a bit more purchases and I will go to probably around 150 divines tomorrow on the build, and afterwards I will start saving up for whatever I want to do next. And for the farming stuff, I might make a video towards later into the coming week, but right now this is all just me throwing points together. I haven't really tested all that much. I'm just trying to find my footing in this league, which has been not that crazy so far in terms of currency. So I feel like I'm behind, but then again, everybody's kind of doing bad, it feels like. So whatever. The build's great. The league is so far, but I'm really hoping that GGG maybe applies some buffs. But we'll have to see. I might talk about the league mechanic at some point when I know more about it. Hope you guys have a lot of fun. I've been having a ton of fun still. And yeah, if you want to join the stream over on twitch.tv/Palsteron as always. Otherwise, see you next time. And since I still don't have a slogan, I just said see you next time.